everybody, we're here with ferrets. How are you, ferrets? Have you had a chance to recover from sitcon and all the wealth of information?
No.
So guys, obviously today's show is going to be a little different than normal. Normally we'd be covering the news and then Star Citizen, but to be honest, today I have a lot to do with game design, and I'm getting very obsessed with it. And I just want to get that done. So we're just going to focus on sitcon today, and then back next week we'll be back to the usual, which is covering the game news and then worrying about Star Citizen after. But we have had just a massive drop of information regarding CitizenCon and what we can expect from Star Citizen for the next 12 to 18 months. So, Ferrets, overall, what was your impression of sitcon? Was it bad? Was it okay? Or was it bad? Or Was it okay? Was it good? Or was it excellent?
It was... That was pretty good, actually. I
1 to
did
5.
like it.
Yeah, 1 to 5. So you say about a 4 out of 5 sort of thing?
The 4.5.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'd say it was pretty good. I was a little meh when it first started, I must admit, and then sort of got interested in the end. But yeah, at the end of the day, obviously it's over now. Now we just got to sit down and break down all the information that we've got over the next how many weeks. So I'll probably be watching the videos over and over and over and over and over. But let's go through. Let's talk about sitcon. So let's break these sort of down in a sort of in an order of sorts. First note was basically the keynote, showing off the come on, showing off what Star Engine can do when it comes to like the storms and stuff like that. So it's the Brave New Worlds. It's including Genesis, the innovative suite of technology and process with Star Engine that breathes new life into our truly immersive worlds. So what was your thoughts on, for example, like the thunders, the clouds, the storm clouds, that sort of stuff? I know it's probably not. It's probably cool for you, but I suppose the tech side of it would probably be a little bit lost, I suppose. But
So, the tech side of it, yes, I don't understand much of it, but
mm,
I'm a huge rain guy, alright? I like thunderstorms and all that. Like, if I could, I would be outside camping in a thunderstorm in the middle of a forest because I hate people and I like thunderstorms.
right, yeah, like I think there's always something pretty cool about thunderstorms. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, obviously you don't get struck by lightning and you're fine. Um, the tech side of things was very impressive. I will admit. It is something that obviously I am interested in because of my own thing. Um, but at the end of the day, it does like I say, it is probably going to go over a lot of people's heads, and I don't mean that in a sort of like a oh, you don't understand sort of way, but yeah, the stuff that they were showing was pretty impressive. So it's definitely cool. Um, I'm trying to fix my thing now because obviously it was all screwed up from sitcom. But anything else on the tech side of things for the Star Engine that sort of that blew your brains or blew your brains out, or are you just
I mean, the architect of the thing was pretty good too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, knowing that they could finally have a planet with over 3,000 different point of interactions, that really, yeah, that right there really gave me a tingly feeling.
yeah. Um, yeah, look, obviously at the end of the day, I think this is all sort of coming under the Planet Tech banner, Planet Tech 5.0 banner, I suppose. Um, but at the end of the day, yeah, it'll be interesting to see it. We do obviously, if we are going to have all these people on these servers, we do need an area where we can basically all sort of like, where we've got multiple sort of things where we can go and that sort of stuff. So it's good to see that. But next thing was up was a social verse, talking about the new orgs and the new comms array and communicator and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, I'd like the idea of finally having the things for like the orgs who actually do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and it's actually given them a purpose.
Yep. I didn't say anything there about transferring funds automatically to org leaders or org accounts. I thought that might have been shown, but it's
Maybe not yet.
no,
You know, like
maybe something.
in the future.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's look, the com array definitely needed an upgrade. So at the end of the day, while we didn't get that, it's good to see that we are getting that upgrade to go through and bring the com array back into the 25th century, so to speak, or 26th century. Um,
Yeah.
the cosplay competition was cosplay. Yeah, who cares? Dress to Kill. From high fashion to dynamic fashion, discover starwear and exciting new character focused specializations that let you define your identity and take the challenges ahead of you. We did see a bit of this last year. So, this is obviously like certain groups wearing certain armors. Now, my concern for that is so I like rocking the Morningstar helmet. My concern with the armor is, am I going to be able to change my visor with like a microchip or something, or is the Morningstar going to be stuck to like assault mode? What if I want to go?
No idea.
Yeah, what if I want to go mining or something with my Morningstar helmet and it's going to be on like assault mode or something like that? But what are your thoughts on the armor itself?
I mean, I like it.
Hmm.
It looks interesting, but like oh, it's like hoping for like a more of a general kind of a special armor, like a special armor that wasn't really combat focused, but like more focused more towards like the civilian side of things.
Yeah, I would say, look, at the end of the day, the civilians are probably going to be getting away with getting around with their eyewear, sort of the monocles and glasses that are probably going to have like the HUD display on it for them. Um,
Hmm.
but like I say, yeah, my only concern is, are we going to be locked in certain helmets for certain missions? Like I might want to go salvaging one day and then mining the next, and am I going to have different armor because my Morningstar helmet is going to be on salvage mode or whatever it may be. Beyond Pyro was basically talking about the systems. So obviously we did get to see Neeks, which is basically what we all said was going to happen. So we basically called that. The only surprise here was Castra. I was not expecting Castra. I knew they were going to do. I knew they were doing Terra, but I didn't think it was going to be Castra. You and John seemed to like Castra a bit because of
Oh
the
yeah,
yeah,
because of all of the huge mountains and stuff, and the
big guns.
main the landing area.
And the massive great big guns too probably helps. Although
Yeah,
apparently a
I
lot of them been
do like big
decommissioned.
guns.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, a lot of them had been decommissioned, but like, you know, you can't have a major landing area without any defenses, though. I mean,
And I will say that Castra is right on Vandal space. does make you wonder, and they did allude to it a little bit here. Are we going to get Vandal raiding parties?
Hmm. Yeah, that does beg to differ.
They, like maybe instead of Xeno threat, we'll have a mission where we'll have to take out a kingship or a driller, or maybe the Vandal have attacked the settlement. So we'll have to see what happens with that. And
Yeah.
then obviously, there was nothing else on the day, was there? There was nothing that we might have happened to call that we were going to get that we knew was coming. That no, nothing at all, was there? No,
I couldn't tell you.
nothing. Nothing that a lot of other YouTubers were saying that we were sucking copium on.
Well, we didn't actually get to. I mean, we didn't actually get to the freaking Idris. I was pissed about that.
Yeah, well, and that, but obviously with Squadron 42 we're talking about here, guys. Obviously we did say that we would get a demo of Squadron 42. We would say that we would probably get a release date, which we did get. Wasn't the release date we wanted, but it was a release date nonetheless. Um, Before we get into the whole date and being, up to 2 years away, what are your thoughts on the Squadron 42 demo? Did you like it?
I did like it actually. Yeah.
It's basically an hour
Yeah.
long movie.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Did you watch the redo that Tyler?
Yeah. I did actually because
Yeah,
I wanted to find out what happened at the end.
yeah. So yeah, yeah, it wasn't very much different than what happened in the game. He drags her aboard the life pod and then ejects it, which is
Yeah.
basically what you can expect was going to happen, I suppose. Um, I don't know. Does she die or is she still alive?
She was technically alive when the thing ended, but she also got stabbed. So
Yeah, and they said that she did give him a glowing reference, but that was apparently before the event, so we don't know what happened to her. Um, I presume look, Julian Anderson. I presume she's still alive. You're not going to go writing up Julian Anderson in the first hour of your 30 to 50 hour game. Um, Thoughts on graphics and stability and gameplay and process and stuttering and stuff? Did you the graphics and stuff? Were you all good with them and that?
yeah, I mean, I didn't really see too many problems with it.
No, the only problems we had was the lacing, and that apparently that was the actual stream that was going up to the actual videos websites, so Twitch or YouTube.
Yeah.
Because when Rich went through and did it, there was no lacing. Um, all right,
Yeah.
let's deal with the elephant in the room. The date it is 2026. What are your thoughts on the date? Is it? I know it's later than we wanted. Are you? I don't want to say are you fine or okay with it, but like if it means we get a game that is basically foolproof and flawless, are you okay with waiting until 26, or are you like, no, I want my bloody address now? Give me.
I mean, I want my fucking Idris, man,
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm not trying to sound really like one of those like haters, but like it's starting to get to a point where I just want Squadron 42 to be done so I can get my freaking ship.
yeah. And look, they did say 2026. They don't tell you if it's the start of the year. They don't say if it's the end of the year. They don't say if it's sitcon next year, or the year after sitcon. Sorry.
Everybody is already suspecting that it's going to be Citizen Con, so like it's gonna be pretty much 2 years out.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Apart from that, anything else with day one that you were sort of happy, sad, suicidal over?
I mean, 3 years for polishing only 30% of your game is kind of a long time, man. I mean,
Hang on, what do you mean? Sorry, I'm confused. What do you mean? Was 30%? What's this 30% stuff?
30% is chapter one, and then after that, you're going to be working on chapter two. Then after that, will be chapter three.
Oh yeah, but it's still a 50-hour game, right?
Does it usually take a longer than 3 years to polish a game that's smaller than a modern
Well, it's not smaller than a modern
they
game. It's
AAA game?
no, it's bigger than a AAA game.
I mean,
The average AAA
it's
game's 20.
only 40 hours though. Like
Well,
your like average game is like over freaking like 80
no,
hours.
it's not. It's about 20.
That's 60 hours then.
It's about 20. The average
20 hours? No, it's
length
not.
of AAA game campaign CAMP campaign. Yep. So according to Akora, AAA games single player campaigns typically about 20 to 30 hours. So
Okay, does it take them 3 years, or does it take them longer?
well, it depends. Are we talking about Ubisoft or are we talking about
In the
like?
general, like, just like I'll pick like a two or three, and then you know,
Well, so Starfield was in development for 10 years in total, and development and polish on that was about 2 or 3 years.
and it's still pretty shit.
Yeah. Polish phase for Starfield. Uh, that seems like it's Face Clan it's bringing up. Polish game for Starfield. How long was the polish for Starfield? Right. So it was released on the 6th of September 2023, and development started around 2012, 2013. So it was about 10 years, but we don't know exactly how long. Okay, 2021, it was in polish phase. And it was
Hmm.
released in 2023, so they took 2 years. Two and a half, 3 years for polish phase. Yeah, it's about right. And you got to remember too, Bethesda launched Starfield with bugs, glitches, and God knows what. So like, like, are we really happy with their polish phase? Like, yeah. Uh, do we want Star Citizen to come out looking like Bethesda? But yeah, so, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
they're about 2 years, 2 3 years for polish, and yeah, and their game is a lot more on rails than what Star Citizen is. So it's like at the end of the day, here's the thing, right? Is it's like they've got to check everything. They've got to check every nebula. They've got to check every nebula from every angle. They've got to check every planet. They've got to check every POI, and like, can you imagine if they forget one POI that's maybe not a main mission, but it's a second mission, or a secondary mission, or a tertiary mission, and it's not optimized or polished, and then people found it, like the mainstream media would rip them apart. So
Yeah.
yeah, so like they've got to check everything. Like, dude, I do not envy them. That is such a shit job. It's a terrible idea. I would rather self delete myself than fucking spend all the time polishing that game. Holy shit, that's bad. All right, jumping on day two, crafting your homes, base building. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's all right.
Yeah, was it further along than you thought it was?
Yeah, but not the far long as I was hoping, though.
Hmm. So
But
we
I was hoping it was almost done.
well, so we're talking about. So let's split this up. We're talking about the planet side stuff at the moment, right?
Right.
What are your thoughts? When do you think we will be getting base building for like planets and stuff?
Well, what they used told us was technically in gray boxing. So
Was
I
it
mean,
grey
I
box
would.
or in game or in game engine? I thought it said in game engine.
Well, yeah, it was in game, so
I don't think that was grey box for the base building. I think that was they said the only thing I know that was not done on it was the spawning in the vehicles. They want to make it so that it slowly spawns in over time.
all right. So I mean, as so far as we know, that could be the patch after 4.0.
Yeah, maybe March next year, or it could be March, or it could be June next year. I would expect it around then.
Yeah.
Depending on how much or what they're trying to do. Depends, are they after base building with the space stations or are they after base building with just bases on the ground? Because if they do the ground on bases, then yeah, that's definitely doable to have done within the say next 6 or so months. Um, what are your thoughts about like the placement and all that sort of stuff? Did you like it? How it places like it gives you like that bird eyes view and basically overlooks the yeah. It's a bit like Starfield where it overlooks the area and then you can sort of plot things down.
I think it's going to be like they give you a radius, and then you could pick out where you want your buildings
Yeah,
to be.
like Starfield.
I don't want to use Starfield as an example because that's a pretty a bad example because Starfield isn't really all that good.
Oh God, how dare you say that? You'll be banned from a certain Discord for saying that.
No, I'm already too high up in the in those ranks.
Hmm. You had to
So
kiss
I
a
mean,
lot of ass, people.
no, I didn't really do anything.
I don't go in for it. um, what about the space stations? How long before you think we'll get the space stations? Because that also
Well,
looks pretty far along.
those stations were in. No, they were in upgrade boxing.
Hmm.
So, I
Are you happy about being
mean,
able to
I don't
build a Bengal carrier in space?
know because I can't build one.
Why not?
Do you know how man? Do you know how much resources and money it's actually going to cost to first build a cargo platform just so you could start building a station so you
Oh
could
yeah,
start building the dry dock so you can start building the actual carrier.
oh yeah. Oh, it's going to be
That's
a
gonna take. I mean, if it's only me, that's gonna take me years.
yeah. To be honest, I was going to bring this up with you later, but I was going to say, are we better off joining another org? like synchronizers or something.
I mean,
Like I like our little band of merry fist you know, with like 3 to 5 people. But like, it does make you wonder, and this is the sort of question I was asking at the time, and I've asked you a few times today. Like, what happens to these smaller orgs? Is this the end of smaller orgs?
no, it's just endgame content won't be as readily available to smaller groups than it is to groups who could easily field like 4,000 people.
Mm,
I mean, we're not saying that it can't be done. It's just if it will get it done, it will be either very efficient, very inefficient. It's gonna take a very long time and take a lot of resources.
mm. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I think it's definitely going to be a sink when it comes to resources. But you know, like I say, like at the end of the day, it's like, you know, it is end game content. But here's the thing, you know, just because you can't build your Bengal carrier with us doesn't mean we can't go get all the materials and whatnot, and then basically go through and give it to another org to build the Bengal carrier
Yeah.
and pay them somehow, maybe. But
I'll probably pay them a few billion,
mm, yeah.
which
But
at
also,
this moment, gaining a few billion in game, it's probably gonna take like quite a while
yeah,
because of missions don't pay very well right now.
the yeah, that'll be all readjusted, I suppose. But but I was going to say, but at the end of the day, it's look, it's interesting. It is something that obviously, look, I am concerned about when it comes to the orgs. You know, because like I say, you know, like I don't necessarily want to join a massive, great big org like Test or Synchronizers or whoever it may be, or Cobra or whoever it may be, and you know, and then you're sort of like, you know, like you're beholden to them, you know, like, and yeah, I sort of like to keep things on a more personal, smaller level, but it does make you wonder what's going to happen with like orgs and these massive, great big ships. And do keep in mind too, your Bengal carrier is not only just the only thing that you can build. You can build other ships, especially with your bases down the ground. We saw them build a C1, I think it was that they were building. So you know, who knows what size that they can build with that? You know, like they might be able to build a Nidris. We don't know. But all right. Day two is I've forgotten because I broke the screen. Good to play the video. What was after that on day two? What else did we have? Oh, Monster Hunter. What are your thoughts on the on Monster Hunter?
We get to shoot a giant
Space one.
worm.
Mm. You're looking forward to shooting a giant one?
I mean, it's gonna take a lot of ammunition if it's just gonna be me and you.
Well, we won't be able to do it with just me and you. It'd have to be me, you, John, Bruno, Zangard.
Hitman.
Yeah, Hitman. Yeah, yeah. He, yeah. We can get Leaf in. Leaf can be that guy. But you know, like I say, you know, but it does. This does make it does raise the question, right? Do we need to do some like recruitment for the org? Do we need to start actually like taking org seriously? Because at the moment it's sort of just a merry band of misfits.
Ah, either that or you can always try to ask if you can come back.
To
You know where.
oh that no, no I did that one. No, for a start, I wouldn't even want to. Secondly, they would not want me. They
Well,
they,
then we're
they
just
don't.
gonna have to
They,
get creative.
yeah, they don't like me because I'm not a yes man.
I'm not either, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, but out of you and me, let's face it, I rock the boat a lot more. I'm not afraid to sit there and say Starfield's shit. Yeah, yeah, it is. Like that's literally why they banned me was because it was a date game. I called it a date game and they banned me. Yeah. So
Well, you should have broken out the freaking kangaroo on them, and yeah.
Uh, so, captains of industry, uncover the ships and the ground vehicles that will serve as your primary tools for base building in the verse. Um, we do have a little bit more of that. Yeah, it's sort of, we've already pretty much covered it now. But they have gone through and they have come out with new ships. So the Misk Star Lancer TAC, and I think the other one, what was the other one called? The BLD, which is the builder version. What are your thoughts on the Star Lancer?
Well, it's so good. I bought two of them.
To be honest, I'm not a big I'm not a big Misk fan, so I was kind of hoping for something to be RSI or something like that to go through and make it that sort of like, especially something like a medium-sized salvage ship. I would have been interested in, but for me there wasn't a lot there. It does look like it's got like obviously the TAC has the cargo bay or the very small hangar on the top. Um,
Yeah, ironically, that hangar is specifically for the Fury.
yeah, so probably extra small.
And the only problem is a single Fury sucks. You need like a three or four of them, in order for them to actually be considered a threat.
Hmm. Um,
Like
the guns on
they
it
have
though.
absolutely zero armor though.
Hmm. Yeah, but the guns on the Star Lancer are pretty badass.
Yeah, and now we know why the Redeemer actually got nerfed.
Did it
It
get
was
nerfed?
because they were making room for the Star Lancer.
Yeah. Did it get nerfed though? What was the Redeemer before?
Yeah.
They
It lost its size 5 guns and brought them down to two size 4s.
right, but it does have a lot more guns, so like size 4 guns on it.
Which one?
The Redeemer. The Redeemer has
Well,
like
the
3 turrets,
Redeemer now has 4 size 4 guns and 2 size 3s now.
but doesn't it have like
So
3 turrets on it as well? 2 or 3 turrets. Two
it has.
turrets.
Excuse me. So the turrets were the size 5s, and they
Right,
got brought down to size 4s.
right. So there's four
So
size 4s there on each turret. That's 8.
you have a 4 size 4s and 4 size 3s? No. Yes?
But there's two
Yeah.
turrets, right?
There's a two manned turrets, and then there's a two remote turrets. One
Right.
on your tail, one on your chin,
Yeah.
which could be slave to either your pilot, or it can be controlled via a gunner somewhere else on your ship.
So like there's like 16 weapons on the thing, whatever size they may be.
Yeah,
What I'm
but
saying
like
is it has a lot more. It has a lot more guns than what the Star Lancer has. The Star Lancer has, I think it has a turret up the top. I can see a turret up the top, and then a couple of turrets underneath. I don't know if it has any more than that, but it has about 3 turrets.
it has two turrets on each of its side.
Yeah,
Those are the size 5s.
right. And then there's one at the front, one at the back. So it has, oh yeah, it has about four turrets itself, I suppose. Yeah.
So, like, I don't understand why they needed to nerf the Redeemer then. Like, why did it need to be brought down?
Well, it's probably because it was OP.
Was it though? Because it absolutely flew like a freaking brick though.
Yeah, but
It
flying
didn't
like a
fly good.
yeah, but flying like a brick doesn't mean it needed to be nerfed. Flying like a brick just makes it Master Chief from Halo. Let's face it, it had a shit ton of guns on it, and if you had that thing fully
Hold on.
manned,
First of all, Master Chief is overpowered. He destroyed a assault carrier with a single bomb.
yeah, but he still
That's
flies like a brick.
overpowered.
He still flies like a
He
brick.
needs to be he needed to be nerfed. I mean, I mean, you just can't kill him. He's like playing with hacks, man.
But what I'm getting at is at the end of the day, if you had that thing, if you had a Redeemer fully crewed, it was pretty fucking badass. It was pretty powerful. There's a reason why people would jump
Yeah,
down were getting around in Redeemers.
that's why you brought in other ships to deal with the Redeemer. It's called the Circle of Life.
Yeah, yeah, I know, and I just I don't buy the fact that like, do I think they might have nerfed the Redeemer because of the Star Lancer? It was probably a factor, sure, but I don't think it was the only factor. I think they were probably looking at nerfing the Redeemer anyway, and then they thought, well, we're also going to bring in this Star Lancer too, so yeah, we'll definitely nerf it.
Also, did they nerf the Corsair because of the Star Lancer? Maybe.
Of course, I'm not sure. Did that get
The
nerfed too?
Corsair, well, they removed the ability to use your like all four of your sides fives via the pilot seat. So now you have the pilot controlling the top two guns, and then you have to have a a co-pilot to use the bottom two guns, which can only fire in like a 45 degree angle, so he doesn't have a lot of like actual room down there. So you have a person who's just sitting down there waiting to press a single button whenever the pilot tells him to fire.
Well, the engineering gameplay will fix that problem. Don't you worry.
What is like engineer going to sit there and actually press fire?
No, but I presume that when like this, so this is the thing, right? Is that when your ship's flying, everybody thinks engineers are only going to come out when the ship's in combat, and they definitely will. But there's also maintenance that's going to have to be done on your ship while it flies along just normally without being shot at. That's where he will probably have a job.
Right, but you're still missing the fact that in order to use all four of your size 5 guns, you're going to need someone to sit in the co-pilot seat just to press a button.
Well, like I said, and also like scanning and stuff like that, radar and all that will probably be passed off to the co-pilot in the
I'm
future.
not saying that you're missing the whole point.
Hmm.
In order to use the guns, you need someone to actually sit there and press the fire button.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that that same person that's pressing the fire button will have other jobs to do as well. He's not just going to be sitting there waiting, saying, "Can I press it yet? Can I press it yet? Can I press it yet?"
Right. So that means you won't be able to use all of your of your firepower when for you might actually need it because the person that you need to be sitting in that seat to actually press that one actual button, he could actually be somewhere else. So if you're in a fight and your co-pilot is also the like engineer, he will most likely not be able to actually sit in that seat because he has to go do engineer stuff. So
Oh yeah,
if
yeah.
you're
Hang on. Just
in a fight, you just lost like half your firepower.
hang on, just to confirm. I'm not saying he's going to be the engineer. I'm saying he's going to be like the assistant engineer that helps the engineer out when like you're traveling along normally and stuff.
Okay, but we're still at the same problem. If he's not in that seat, you lose half of your firepower.
Trust me, if he's not in that seat, he's getting thrown out of fucking airlock if we're getting into a fight.
Okay, that brings us back to the original problem. When he is in that seat,
Hmm.
the only thing that he's doing when he's in that seat is pressing a single
But
button,
this
and
is
that's going
hang
to be
on.
boring as hell.
But this is what I'm trying to say to you is that seat, that co-pilot seat, won't be just pressing that button. He's also going to be doing scanning with the radar and all sorts of other stuff. There are other jobs that he is going to be doing besides just sitting there pressing a fucking button. Is what I'm getting at. Is what I'm trying to say. You're not listening to me. He's not going to be just sitting there with his finger over the button saying, "Can I press it yet?" Because if he does that, he's also getting thrown out of fucking airlock. But as I'm saying, he's going to be doing scanning. He's going to be doing radar. He's probably going to be doing comms. It depends on how far down the track they want to go. But yeah, the co-pilot or the pilot will just be flying and probably have access to two guns, and the rest of the ship maintenance will be done by the co-pilot. They are literally going to be. This is what people have been saying, and no one's really been paying attention to them for years. You're not going to be able to fly these ships solo. We only were able to do that up until recently because we didn't have engineering coming in. We didn't have the option to have multiple crew members on the ship because we had servers that had 30 to 50 players or whatever it may be. Blah, 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 blah. Now that engineering's starting to come in, this is where we're going to be able to sit there and say, well, hang on, no. The only thing that pilot's going to be doing is flying the fucking ship. Your co-pilot will be balancing shields, will be balancing weapons, will be dealing with comms, will be dealing with telling crew members what areas need to be fixed. He'll probably be calling out what sections are down. All that will probably happen from the co-pilot seat. Depends. Like I say, it depends. Does it have an engineering station?
Can we just move on?
Yeah. If you want, yeah. Um, and then my stars, my destination, Star Citizen 1.0. PvP, PvE, non-combat. What type of game is Star Citizen? Blah 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 blah. Um, what are your thoughts on the last aspect of it? The Chris giving the speech.
Uh, so when Chris gave the speech,
Hmm.
you could clearly tell he was just reading off of a teleprompt. Like I'm not trying to put him down, but it didn't really feel like he meant it. He was just up there reading what the TV monitor was telling him to.
Yeah, he had the cards and stuff that he kept referring to and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that he probably didn't demean it because he probably did.
Hmm.
It's just it didn't feel like it.
Hmm. Yeah, you can see when he walks out, you can see that the teleprompter has all of the speech and everything on it and that,
Yeah, I mean,
and it's probably a whole bunch of information he has to learn. Like obviously, like yeah, especially with Chris, right? People love to sit there and shit on him and take things that he says as gospel, and at the slightest fuck up of anything that he says, he always gets lambasted by people like Glitchy Khaleesi or Salty Mike or whatever it may be. Like a few last sitcon, he turned around and he said to everybody that you will have everything from sitcon by the end of the year. Um, and then he then turned around and said 12 months. Sorry, he said
12
12
to
months, and then
18 months.
sorry, he said no, last sitcon last year. He said you'd have everything by the end of next sitcon, and then after that he corrected himself and said by the end of the year. Um, but that was just him stuffing it up, thinking that like thinking 12 months sitcon. But what he actually meant to say was the end of the year for this year, which is 4.0. So as I say, like I can understand why he was reading things from cards or reading things from the prompt or whatever it was. Just because it was a lot of information. Like I just had the speech come up now. It does go for about 6 minutes of him just talking about sitcon like and 1.0 towards the end. And that was after like Rich Tyler and everybody has gone through and broken down like bases and space stations and everything like that. So I forgive him for doing that for a little bit. Was there was there anything else that was sort of like
No, that's it.
yeah? Do you reckon last year's was better than this year's or?
No, this year's definitely was better.
I suppose I
It,
suppose it's hard because like we follow it so closely, we can sort of predict what's coming. And like to us, I suppose there wasn't a lot of surprises. The biggest surprise for us was the fact that it was going to be 26 for Squadron 42.
yeah,
Um,
that was a bit of a letdown.
yeah, yeah. But that was the only thing really that was surprising for us. We knew about base building. I've already told you in the past that we're getting space stations. I told you guys that about 12 months ago, 18 months ago. Um, so there was nothing really new. Oh, you could build a Bengal carrier, that was new. But then, like you say, are do we have the org to do it? Well, probably not. So there wasn't a lot for us that was new that we didn't know that was like relative to us, I suppose. The swamps and the environments were cool.
Yeah.
The planet tech for Star Citizens is amazing for Planet Five. But but anyway, when do you think we'll get 4.0?
Not soon enough.
You reckon? I
I
reckon.
mean, hmm?
I reckon they might start waving it out to Wave One. Probably the end of next week, maybe.
No, because they need to get a 3.20, 3 point, 3.24.3 into the PDTU first.
3.23.
That's for IAE.
Oh yeah. Well, we
But
do.
then after that,
Well, we
then
already do have it at Ivacati already.
no, they don't.
4.0 is at Ivacati, yes it is.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, that's an AA Wakani, but we're not getting that into wave one before we even get the patch for like IAE into PTU.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens at IAE. Do you reckon we'll get any ships that are set to come out at IAE? What do you reckon the
Yeah,
Polaris?
we're getting the Polaris. We're getting two more Hornet Mark II variants.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting the Star Lancer and another ship that was not important because I don't remember what it is.
What did you think
It's
about the?
something small, so it's kind of stupid, but
What did you think of the the skin for the F8 and the F7 for Squadron 42?
I mean, those are cool ships if we can actually get them, but I mean.
Well, the F8 we've already got, and the F7 we've already
Well,
got.
those aren't skins. Those are completely different ships.
I thought they were just skins.
No, those are completely different ships. The F7 is a like F7 CR dash A,
So
whatever the frickin' what that is.
yes, the F7 is a the F7 that we saw on the in the game was the military version, right? From my understanding, and the one that we have is the civilian version. The only difference is like turrets and stuff.
No, we have the military version of the F7A right now, and
Do we?
the DP, yeah. We have the F7A Mark II.
Right. I
Like I said, the ships that we've seen in Squadron 42 are completely different variants. The
right.
Hornet is the F7C R-A, and the F8 is uh VX-300.
I'm just trying to look it up now. Actually, I'm just seeing if I can. Live sitcoms. One. Fast forward to the end. So the F8 is. You should be able to see my screen.
Yeah, that's a variant of the F8.
Yeah. Um, I'm not sure if you can. There we go. So just in case. And the F7.
You went way too far back.
Hmm,
Way too far forward. It's a bit farther past this part.
it's just after. Yeah, it's here now. He says go now.
Yeah.
So
If you stop, yeah. See? The
so
F7 CR-A. That's the Hornet variant.
Squadron 42 FA-C Manson is the name. Yeah. So the FD is the retaliators. Yeah. But if the design is not that much different than the current ship, they can just easily make the skins for it. I was just thinking it would be nice if we can go through and actually have the skins, or even get the ships if we complete Squadron 42, sort of like a reward sort of thing.
Yeah.
Alright, alright, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on CitizenCon? Generally, I was okay with it, but like I say, obviously there wasn't a lot of surprises for us, so I suppose it makes it harder. But at the end of the day, I suppose we always go through this, right? We go through, we have sitcon, it blows our minds for 2 days, and then we're sort of like sitting around twiddling our thumbs and going, "Oh, now what are we supposed to do?" Yeah. But anything you want to add before we jump off? Give interest.
Squadron 42 is taking way too long, and they need to hurry up and give me my freaking Idris.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's the rub, though, right? If they rush it out the door. We can't have another Starfield, like especially Star Citizen, right? Because like if it does go through and they don't release it and it's not perfect, the games media is going to rip it apart.
Yeah.
Like Chris does not have the protection like the major publishers do. Major publishers, Bethesda and that, can come out with a shitty launch, and the games media will cover for them because they're friends with the publishers. Star Citizen doesn't have that because the whole time they've been trying to convince Chris that they need a publisher. You need a publisher. You need a publisher, right? Because they're friends. They need that percentage of that 700, $800 million that they've raised, and they're not getting it at the moment, right? It's like Steam. Steam takes 30% of the money that you make off your game. And at the end of the day, this is why they've been pushing Star Citizen to get a publisher for the past so many years. It just happens to be that they care about Star Citizen not having a publisher when it starts making several $100 million. Shock horror. But this is what I'm saying is if it comes out and it's not perfect, can you imagine IGN? Dude,
The only the only problem is that when it actually comes out, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to have problems.
well, yeah, I know, but it's about minimizing them as much as possible, right?
I mean, they're still going to actually find something, and then they're going to be like, well, let's attack that then. I mean, you
Yeah,
just no matter how much you prepare for it, it's going to happen eventually.
but there's a big difference between them coming up with some bullshit excuse like, oh my god, this guy had like a broken leg and was still able to walk, or whatever bullshit reason is, compared to, oh my god, the game's buggy. If the game's buggy when it gets released, we will all be like, yeah, it was buggy, right? But if it does release and it is a bullshit excuse that they're trying to use, well, then the fans of Star Citizen are going to turn around and whatnot for it, right? And this is where the games journalists are losing credibility because they're coming up with these bullshit excuses. They come up with Black Myth Wukan is racist and doesn't have enough diversity. And what did everybody did? Everybody turned around and said, well, you guys obviously haven't played past chapter 1. Because chapter bosses in 3 onwards are all diverse groups. There's one that was a female, some sort of female boss. I forget what it was now. Well, I've had about 4 hours sleep. But, the fans were able to push back and was able to make out that IGN was full of shit. But here's the thing. It's infinitely harder to do that if the game is actually buggy and there is actually a legitimate reason for it.
Mm.
So, that's what I say. Like, I get, like Gib Idris. And like I said, you never know, man. You might get your Idris before Squadron 42. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's more.
who
I think
knows?
it's more server meshing than it is about Squadron 42. Is the reason why you don't have your Idris. What's the minimum player for an Idris? 30, 50?
Oh God, no! It's Hmm. uh,
Have to be about 20 or
it's
30.
you said the minimum
Yeah.
8.
Is it 8? Is it?
It's 8, 28 maximum.
It's only 28 max, is it?
Yeah.
Hmm. But still, like, I suppose that's doable, I suppose. But it also will massively degrade servers at the moment too. Like, God, remember when the 890 jump came in? At least with server
So
meshing comes in, that'll fix that problem. But yeah.
if the Idris is going to degrade the servers, what is the Polaris going to actually do? Since that's like The Polaris is less than 100 meters shorter than the like Idris.
Yeah, but 100 meters shorter is 100 meters shorter. I would say that they're
Yeah,
probably
it's
going to
still
test.
pretty big though.
Yeah, but what's the size difference between the Polaris and the 890?
They're about the same size, maybe a little bit
Yeah,
different.
yeah. So we know the servers can handle the 890, but once server meshing comes in with 4.0, well then we won't have much of a, hopefully won't have much of a problem with servers and ship sizes and stuff. Yeah. We'll just have to see, man. We'll have to see what happens with the Idris. But I would say you're probably going to get it before Squadron 42. I don't think Chris is going to make it wait 2 years.
Ironically, the Polaris is smaller than the 890D jump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah. I think, as far as I know, from what I've heard, the 890 jump is about as big as they can go without server meshing. But we'll see.
Yeah.
All right,
All
guys.
right.
Let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Obviously, guys, let us know what your thoughts are on CitizenCon. Were you happy? Were you upset? Were you sad? Were you ecstatic? And apart from that, obviously, yeah, we'll be back next week with the regular show. But this week was just purely sitcom focused. Anything else you want to mention before we jump off?
Not really.
No. All right. He's disappointed with everybody. He didn't get his interest.
I'm actually disappointed that it's gonna take me another 2 years to get my
Well, we don't know
interest.
that, right? That's what I'm trying to say. You don't know that.
Based off of the information that we have, it's gonna take another 2 years.
Yeah. But and you do get to see it several times. But anyway, let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, guys. Have a great night. Enjoy yourself. You want to say bye, Fez?
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.